You are listening to Power Stance Gamers Podcast, the best place for quality tabletop banter. With your hosts, Jacob, Greg, and Muddi.
Alright, welcome everyone to our review episode. Power Stance Gaming. I am Jacob Connor, your host, and with me is Mr. Greg Millsop.
Good morning, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen.
And Mr. David Muddiman.
Hey, young guys!
Gentlemen, what are we reviewing today?
Star Wars Xwing miniatures game.
By?
Fantasy Flight Games.
Excellent. Wow, you've done your homework, Muddi.
I've done some homework.
Excellent. Before we get into this, can we just remind our listeners, how do they win Archaon End of Times?
Jacob.
Well, I threw to you specifically, so I didn't have to answer that. But what you need to do, listeners, is you need to get onto iTunes and leave us a review. How many stars, Greg?
5.
5.
Even if we're crap, just still give us 5, please.
Just lie.
Yeah. We don't care what you say.
Yeah, don't care at all what you say. Pass, but just give us 5 stars.
Yeah. I mean, you can write it in French. We really don't care. Just the 5 stars.
5 stars. That's universal.
Post
Archaon could be coming your way with the dice off. Let's see it happen.
That's it. Post up on our Facebook page when you've done it. We'll put you in the draw, and I think we're going to try and live stream
the dice
the
roll.
dice roll.
In
wrestling moves.
leotards.
Oh, yeah, I'll do that.
Woo!
Yeah.
I feel like I'm the only one that doesn't own a leotard due to my lack of excitement at that prospect.
We'll get you one.
We'll get you one. Get you an Abbott outfit.
Mankini.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Alright, it's on.
Mankini. Yeah.
Yep, and I'll warny bowl
Just
it.
make sure it's extra large in the chest area.
Oh,
the chest area.
crotch, baby.
Crotch,
Yeah.
no, don't worry about the crotch.
And no strapping cucumbers to your leg, boys.
Aww.
What if Muddy's hungry later? On that note, let's move on with the review. Muddy,
Yeah.
Fantasy Flight.
Fantasy Flight
Xwing
game.
miniatures
So
game.
I've done a little bit of
It's
research. Apparently,
good for a
14
change.
plus. 14 plus.
14 plus.
I
age.
would have thought it'd be a little less than that. Greg, what do you reckon? 14 plus.
My kids, when we first played this, I think were probably 7 and 10. And with quick start rules, 100% they got it. So maybe not the full rules, but definitely the quick start, the
So-
basics, mechanics. Yep.
So it sounds like say 14 plus for perhaps them just to be able to play it themselves, getting the rules out, reading themselves, doing the whole
Yep.
thing.
I'd probably agree with that.
But obviously, if you're tutoring a younger one,
Yeah, you
there's
could,
no dramas
you
with
could
that.
certainly play it much younger.
Okay, cool.
And
Yeah.
can we mention here that, and we'll probably talk about it a little bit later on, but quick start rules are great. If anyone that's new to gaming, you could crack out the quick start rules of this. You know, I could run my grandma through this game, I think.
The quick
Yep.
start rules are A5 size, and they're 3 pages. You can read them in about 15 minutes. And with the contents of the box, you could be up and playing within under an hour easily.
Yeah, I had a
Easily.
quick look at it, guys, and yeah, it is pretty simple. Let's crack on. Players, 2, but I'm assuming you can bump that up a bit.
Oh, I think you
You
easily
could play-
scale up to
It's
4.
probably like Walking Dead when we did the Walking Dead review.
Yep.
2 players, yeah, but you can bump it up to multiplayer, I'm assuming.
100%.
Obviously, the timings that we're about to talk about will probably bump up a little.
Yeah, like we've played multiplayer games before. Like we had a game in Brad's shed once. Shout out to Brad.
Yep, Shed Sesh.
We had a shed sesh, and I think there was 6 or 7 of us, and everyone had a TIE fighter.
Yep.
That was it, and we just went this melee in the middle of the board with TIE fighters, and it was great fun.
Yep. So
Um,
no time limit for this stuff, because obviously shenanigans have going
Yeah.
hard and fast at this
But it's the
point.
same as anything. You can make it multiplayer if
Yep.
you want to,
Yep.
but the core rules are written for a 2-player game.
Yeah, there's no single player scenarios in this, obviously.
No, I don't think so.
No,
No.
you guys don't know of any.
No, you couldn't NPC the TIE fighters.
No, so it's
you
two.
I don't
need
think so.
a minimum
Yeah.
2 players.
Okay, so 2 plus. 2
Yep.
plus, guys. Now, it also says 30 to 45 minutes per game, but obviously we're talking about multiplayer here, which these guys aren't thinking about. It's obviously going to bump up the time frame,
I
right?
would
Yeah.
say the starter set, 30 minutes easily,
Yep.
would get you through the game.
I think if you were
Um,
playing a competitive 100-point game, someone knew the rules, 35 to 45 minutes easy.
I
So,
suppose
so we're looking under an hour at this point.
Under an hour.
Easy.
If I was
Yeah.
running an event, a tournament, I'd hour brackets for games.
Yeah,
And-
so
and-
that's why it's a nice casual game. at
it's
the
probably
same
worth
point.
pointing out that a 100-point game, according to local expert Mike Hurl, big shout out to Mike. He would recommend a 100-point game being around a 3-ship build, I would say.
Yeah. We're going to talk about fleets later? Or
Squadrons, you mean?
Squadrons? Sorry, fleets, I'm muttering.
100%. We'll talk about squadrons later.
Yeah.
But generally, to give the listeners a feel, 100 points is around about 3 ships.
Something I didn't mention. Released 2012. Now, with that, there has been 10 releases.
No, 2012 would
2011, was it?
No, there's been 11 waves.
Hang on a second.
No, the 11th one isn't out yet. It's only up for pre-order.
Technicality.
Yeah.
2012, is that right?
2012.
Wow, I thought it was earlier than that. But there you
No,
go.
2012 sounds right. 5 years.
Yeah, okay, yep.
Yeah, so anyway, 2012, 10 waves, one's up for pre-order. So there's 11 releases. Now, with that, they're all boosters, essentially. Yeah, you get an extra ship. Or you said there's, Greg said there are some multiple ships in some of these sets.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
No other expansions, though, to the core game. Like, no campaign
There's been 2 core boxes released.
Yep.
So there was the first one,
yeah,
the Xwing, and then there was the updated
bring this up
one.
because there seems to be a couple of different price ranges depending if you buy the first edition of the box or the second edition of the box.
So the second edition had was up re-released for Force Awakens.
Yeah, that's why it's
So I'll just on that. I did my research. So with the first box, it's based on the old Xwing fighter, which for those in the know was built by the Incom T-65B. That's what it was known as. Xwing.
Oh yeah.
Whereas
Sorry, I'm
the
getting
Force Awakens,
excited over here.
The Force Awakens. Some people out there listening will be excited about this, Jacob.
No, I am. I'm generally half chub right now.
generally
The Force Awakens comes with the Incom T-70 Xwing, which is, of course, the split engine, slightly different to the original Xwing. The difference being, to the normal casual viewer, one is the red Luke Skywalker style X-Wing, whereas the Force Awakens is the newer style.
I
and
thought
it's
maybe
colored
one
blue.
had like unleaded and the other one had diesel.
Yeah.
No.
Well, see, the T-65s run on the Super. Remember?
Oh, right.
Yeah.
And one's a
And the
hybrid.
T-70s.
One you can plug it into your PowerPoint.
It's also worth noting that the original set, which I have, comes with 2 original TIE fighters from the middle 3 movies, whereas the Force Awakens set comes with 2 special TIE fighters, the black ones with the red stripe down the cockpit.
Oh, okay.
Which is
the Special Forces
yeah,
ties
special
from...
forces.
So that's
it.
cool. So depending on who you are and what series you're probably more inclined to be into.
Yeah.
If you're maybe a bit younger, you might be into the newer stuff, so you might buy the newer set. And the retail prices are around. We just discussed this earlier, Greg. Where they look around about between $60 to $70, depending. The price seems to fluctuate.
That's for the core.
Yeah,
core
for the
sets,
for the core game, but they seem to fluctuate on some sites depending on whether it's the first edition or the second edition. All right, so let's getting into the game, guys. I've got my brand new box. I've come home. I'm all Star Warsed up. I'm talking like Yoda on the drive home. I get the box home. I rip open the plastic seal. I open the box up. Not only do I get that fresh board gamey smell.
Ooh, love it.
What do I see, boys? What's in there?
Okay, so you crack the box open. You've got, regardless of the core set, as we just mentioned, you've got 2 ties and an X-Wing. It's up to you which way you slant, where you go with the red X-Wing and the blue X-Wing, or new or old. It's up to you. After that, you've got everything you need to play, bar a game mat, but we'll come on to that. But you've got everything you need to play. You've got counters, tokens, you've got your damage cards, you've got your range ruler for shooting, you've got your turning maneuvers, and I'll come on to that in a second. You've got your movement dial, you've got dice, and you've got asteroids, which come in the form of 2D cards, I guess. You've got a set of quick start rules, and you got the rule book, and that's probably about it. I got a whole pile of bags, Ziploc bags.
So, to sum this up pretty quickly, essentially this game, straight out of the box, barring a black sheet, you are good to go. This is almost like the board game. Here's all the pieces.
In fact,
Off
if
you
your
go.
dining room table was yellow, you're playing over desert, you're good to go.
Oh, that's true. These don't have to be in space, so that's a good point.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Yeah. So it's absolutely out of the box. You can pick it up, play it.
Pre-painted, we didn't mention the fact that the miniatures are
Yeah,
pre-painted.
that is a massive sell to this game in that you don't have to hobby up too much at all.
You don't have to hobby at all.
Yeah,
So
no, it's
this
definitely-
leads me to a question here. How are we going to categorize this game? Is it a hybrid? Is it a gateway? Is it a tabletop game, board
Jacob.
game.
That's a tough one because
It is a tough one.
it's almost, to me, it's almost like a collectible game. Like, you know, a collectible cards game or a collectible miniatures game like HeroClix or something like that. You're essentially getting everything you need by buying one booster and bang it on the table.
Yep.
That's it. So it's unlike Walking Dead where you still sort of have the obligation, if you're at my house at least, to paint your damn miniatures.
Yep.
These come pre-painted and everything you need to, it's ready to go out of the box. I wouldn't call it a board game because it's still a miniatures game. But it's, to me, it's much more like a collectible game rather, you know, where you're sort of buying. And you're not buying blind. You know what you're buying.
Yeah,
it's
there's
not like
no
you're buying a
blind
pack.
purchases with these boosters, like some of the collectibles.
Yeah. So I don't know. It's kind of weird how it sort of fits in there. But and I guess the other thing is you could buy it and just have it sit on your shelf, and it looks pretty darn good.
These they do just look like cool toys.
Yeah.
Greg style. So Jacob's torn.
Yeah, we talked about this just before the cast, and I reckon it's a tabletop game. The reason being that you've got everything you need, in theory. You've got everything, in fact, not in theory, you've got everything to play a game, except the terrain in inverted commas, and by that what I mean is actually a playable surface. Unlike other hybrids, whatever you want to call them, gateway games you've mentioned before, where you've actually got absolutely everything you need. It's all in the box, you can crack it out, everything's there. This actually lacks a table surface. And I believe that to get the most out of it, you can go out and get a mat, you know, the space mats, whatever, and it just blows. It just all of a sudden takes that to the next level, just straight away. And the
Which
fact
conveniently Fantasy Flight itself.
yeah, look, they're there to make money. That's, you know, by the by. The point is that it's, you know, you have to add something to it to actually make it, I believe, to finish it off or make it work. Probably make it work, I would say, because the gaming mat provides a surface for you to restrict your flights on, so you don't actually have somebody that can actually keep flying and you just can't chase them down because their ship's quicker than you. The mat provides an arena for you to fight the other person.
It's the boxing ring.
Yeah, 100%.
Yep.
So I believe on that basis.
What size are we talking about here?
I think in the rules they recommend 3 foot by 3 foot. I think,
3 by 3.
but most mats now, as you know, are 4 foot by 4 foot. So typically they're 4 foot by 4 foot.
3 by 3 is the way of the future.
Yeah, I think so.
It's the way of the future.
Yep.
The easy way to do this, though, if you don't want to go buy a mat, PCMDF, black spray paint, the toothbrush with the paint, flick the toothbrush and puts.
Yep.
Like
all
if
the
you don't
little
want to
dots.
buy MDF, go to Spotlight.
Yeah,
Get them to
and
cut
black
you
sheet.
3 by 3
That's
bit of material.
exactly how, and there's Exhibit A, that's exactly how we started with the
That's
boys.
all you need, seriously.
Which is, I just produced a black piece of cloth. So one thing I would add, and we did talk about this as well, is it an entry game to tabletop wargaming? And I'm probably a little bit mixed and torn on that because the miniatures are pre-painted. You can go into online, Google a game mat, and you can get a game mat, and literally you can just, that's it, you're good to go. You can collect your boosters. You don't have to do anything else. You don't have to glue. You don't have to even collect scenery. The asteroids are there. That's it. So is it
I'm going to say
a means to get into hobby?
yes
I'm going
with
to
the
slightly
but.
disagree. I think what this game does is gets you to the table. That's what its whole purpose is. And then inherently, you can't help yourself but then start looking at other things. If this was just a board game, you might not ever think of going to a tabletop. This, in a way, to me, feels kind of like a board game, but it's on a table. So they've kind of just got you to the table, and now it's like, there might be something else. Then you might see Walking Dead, and you might go, oh, that's not much different to what I'm already doing. So it's a small step. It's smaller than maybe Walking Dead going that full step, but it's a bit more of a, you know.
Yeah. Look, I completely agree with that. It has recognizable IP
And gets you to
as the big thing.
Get
It's
your
Star
bum
Wars.
to the
If you
seat.
love Star Wars, you love X-Wings, you love TIE Fighters. It's that simple. No one goes, oh man, I love Star Wars movies, but space combat just doesn't do it for me.
Yeah.
You know what I
Actually,
mean?
I'll chime in there. And whenever X-Wing first came out, I remember we were on the phone and we were like, this is it. This is the big thing. This is going to be huge. We want to get into it. It's going to be massive. And and I'll say it now, as a complete Star Wars nut, always like religious, like to the point of we had A New Hope recorded on the old video cassette tape back home, and I knew every single word of that. I could recite it, of that movie perfectly, to the point where my mum got so worried she had to confiscate the movie off me, which has still scarred me to this day. So that's
seeing
how
a pattern emerge here.
I know. That's how big a Star Wars fan I am. So I was really worried about this game coming out because I thought incorrectly that it would wreck my perception of Star Wars. That it wouldn't be able to come up with that thematic. It just wouldn't be able to transition into that tabletop game. And I stayed away from it. Whenever you first talked about it, you were super keen, and I was just like, no, I'm not interested.
Yeah.
And the only reason I got it was to play with kids. 100%. That was the only reason I got it.
You ended up making the purchase.
Yeah. And
I didn't. I went the Armada route.
Yep.
Yeah.
But that's because I prefer the bigger games.
And this might
as opposed
surprise
to this.
listeners, but I did both.
Yeah, no shocks. No shocks there.
Going back to, is it an entry-level game? I want to say yes with the but. That yes, that core box is brilliant.
Yeah.
The but is that there is a ridiculous amount of depth once you go beyond it.
Yep.
And Xwing is an extremely competitive game. And I think that side of it is not for the faint-hearted.
Is the old cliche, simple game, but difficult to master.
Chess. Yep.
100%.
They've only just had the World Championships, right?
Yeah.
Pretty sure they have. Yeah. So, anyway. I talked about the 10 waves.
11.
11th isn't out yet.
It's up for pre-order.
It's up for pre-order. The miniatures are there.
Doesn't count.
But when you think about it, that's
how much are these boosters?
Ranging because the ships change in size.
For a small ship, roughly $24.
Yeah.
For a medium ship,
Yeah, this is all Australian, guys.
medium ship, we're talking about something like Slave 1. Or for a 2-ship pack, you're talking about $45. And for a larger ship like the Millennium Falcon, around about $65. Take that with a pinch of salt. That's 65 large ship is like Kello Ren's shuttle, which is the Upsilon class shuttle, for those that are in the know.
Upsilon.
Whatever.
11 waves.
Yep.
Works out to be every 6 months new releases.
So every 6 months, you're essentially you've got change pretty much from 50.
Yeah.
For each by one
For
ship.
a lot of them. Yeah.
And each
That's
wave
pretty
has 4 or 5 ships come out.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Yeah. Okay. All right. Aesthetics. That's my big thing. Has
Yep.
it got it?
Okay, just on that, just for the listeners, the small ships are to 1 to 270-ish scale. It's some debate was 270 or 274 scale. So they actually are scaled. So the only one that's questionable is the A-Wing. Apparently the A-Wing is actually correctly scaled, but the movie didn't scale it correctly, if that makes sense. So it's actually out of scale, but to scale. That's the only ship that's not probably correct, but the rest of them are. The only exception to that is the big ships. Now we're talking about the Decimator and the Tatooine. What's it called? The Road, not the Road one. The blockade ship. What's that called?
Yeah, the CR-90 Corellian Corvette.
That's it.
Yeah.
Those ships are not scaled. They're to one. Well,
What about the Millennium?
different. No, Millennium Falcon is apparently to scale,
Oh,
but
right.
the bigger epic ships are not scaled. They're to 1 to 350. So they don't fit in inverted commas the same scale as the fighter ships. But to make it work on the board,
Yep.
yeah,
They've got a bit of poetic license.
exactly
with it.
right.
But that's fine. Look, the models look really that good. You're not going to...
Well, the question was aesthetics. Man, yeah, ticks the box.
Yeah.
Like, we've got the ships in front of us. We've got the U-Wing. We've got the Fire Spray in front of us, the Y-Wing, the X-Wing, and they just look amazing.
And again,
Yeah,
this has always been part of Star Wars' appeal, is the Industrial Light and Magic models that they've used from A New Hope to create these starships have been incredible. And FFG have worked with ILM to produce the miniatures. Like, they've got the scans and the renders from the original models to produce their ships, and you can tell it just absolutely nails.
In fact, in the back of the core rulebook, it's got a whole page where it talks about how they actually
how they made
work
the ships.
with it, with the whole casting process and modeling process.
And do you guys do much with the terrain? Because I like nice, pretty board.
Yep.
Are you putting actual asteroids out? Are you putting out any other space stations or something like that to really?
No, I'm happy with
Spruce up
the
the board?
counters for the asteroids. To me, it's not about the asteroids.
Yeah.
And because you actually move through asteroids, 3D terrain in this case would give you the shits.
So it actually becomes an
Yeah.
issue, does it?
Yeah. So I mean, you don't want
Unless
to
you
be
house
moving
rule it.
through
Unless you house
the
rule it.
asteroids, but when you do, it can become painful. So
I, on the other hand, kind of lost it a little bit, so spent a bit of money and went and got some AT-ATs, which are the Matchbox AT-ATs.
Oh,
Bought them from
yes.
Jacob.
you bought it
Jacob
from me, thank you.
sold them, and I
Yeah.
also bought from a dude online. Got some little ATSTs, which we'll post up on Facebook to show you what they look like. But you put that down, and so we play, instead of space, we play like a ground battle, and we've got the gun turrets, we've got the AT-ATs, got the ATSTs. It looks sick.
So
It
once
looks
again, you're putting
amazing.
that theatre of the movie
Yep.
and recreating it on the tabletop, which is what most of us, I'm assuming, are probably doing in most games that we try to do.
Yeah,
Mm.
absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right, let's come on.
Oh,
let's
I
get
just
into it.
I'll just
Yep.
chime in. For those that do have Xwing, and look, you probably already have done this already, but Big W, they sell the packs. I'm not sure if it's Matchbox that produce it, but anyway, the 3 packs of fighters, and they're different sizes. But the Xwing, the Poe Xwing, is identical scale to the Fantasy Flight, the Xwing miniatures game Xwing. TIE fighters are a bit smaller, but the X-Wings are perfect size. They cost like $10 for a pack of 3. You get 1 X-Wing granted in it. Man, you can take that, cut it up, have it crashed. Perfect scenery.
Oh, nice. So you
Yeah.
can play around with the scenery. a little
Yeah.
bit.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
You are listening to Power Stance Gamers. And now, this.
All right, so let's just get straight into the gameplay, because that's what people probably want to hear. Sell it to me, boys.
Look, I love it. I think it's absolute work of genius what they've done. So, essentially what they've done is take your ships that you build. So we'll talk about the core set. If you're the Imperials, you're playing with 2 TIE fighters. If you're the Rebels, you're playing with the X-Wing.
So this is straight out the
Straight out of the
core
box, straight out of the core box.
Good to go.
Okay,
Yeah.
so you've got, I guess, maneuver discs is probably the best way to describe them.
Guys, can I just quickly jump in here? This is a fantasy flight game. If you've never bought a fantasy flight game, you are going to be shocked a little. I was, by how many tokens and little dials and bits that go with the game.
Yeah, but you're punching cardstock.
You are punching cardstock for a while.
Yeah.
Quality card.
It is quality. I'm
Oh,
not
absolute quality. Yeah.
saying it is quality, but for those who haven't had one of these before or aren't into board games, to me it was a bit of a shock when I got a Marta. This is in that ilk, very similar. Don't be put off by it. Go on.
Yep. So how you play the game, your ship has got various maneuvers that it can do, which will be different, usually different to your opponent. And with that, so you select how you are going to, I guess, attack or maneuver to your opponent. And with that, you turn your dial to whatever maneuver you want to do. So those maneuvers generally are like a straightforward, a slight turn to left or right, a sharp turn to left or right, or a U-turn, essentially.
So in this, you are really trying to guess what your opponent
Yeah,
is going to
exactly. You're trying to outmaneuver your opponent, 100%.
I mean, the game is a dogfighting game.
do. It's dogfighting.
So,
In the
and
Star
maneuver
Wars
is
IP. Yeah.
incredibly important.
Yeah.
So,
100%.
and it nails it with the movement dial. Yeah.
So you turn your movement dial and you place that face down. Then in initiative order, which is, that's detailed on your player card, you go in initiative order, lowest going first. So you reveal your movement dial. You then select one of the turn...
bearing.
Okay, that's it. Yeah, bearings.
Bearing.
Turn bearings, which have got different lengths. So 1 being quite short, 3 being probably 4 inches, to give you a bit of an idea. 1 being sort of 2.5 inches-ish.
So the shorter the more turning you do, the shorter it'll be.
The higher the number, the longer it'll be.
Okay.
So a 5, for example, straightforward, is about 6 inches, 8 inches-ish. Well, I'd sort of get my tape measure out and measuring it, or get something else out and measuring it. So you then...
Times about 4. That's 8 inches.
You then move your ship, and then the next person with the next highest initiative moves, so on and so forth until movement's over. I should also add, you can do sort of special maneuvers to a certain extent, which is like focus fire, which makes you help shoot better, or
Is this
defense.
The rolling? Is this
No,
the
you
rolling?
just assign depend on your ship's abilities, you assign those counters or those maneuvers to your ship, which can help defense or offense.
Yep.
Then you go into combat, and then essentially you've got a range ruler, which is a foot long, split into 3 zones. Depending on where you sit in those zones, gives you added attacks or added defensive dice.
Yep.
You measure it up. You look how many shots your ship shoots. Roll it up. Your opponent looks how many defensive dice they defend on. Rolled up. Essentially, there's ways of cancelling shots out. You work it out and potentially take damage.
And all these dice are in the typical Fantasy Flight fashion, color coded. So once again, guys, it's on the card. It tells you how many dice and what color, and then you'll just roll.
And symbols that are relevant numbers.
And D8s, just for a point of difference as well.
Yeah. Yep.
8-sided dice. Can I jump in there, Greg? You mentioned initiative, and this is something I love about this game. The way that in the movement phase, that the lower initiative move first, okay? And then in the shooting phase, the higher initiative shoot first. So if you have a pilot with a higher initiative, say Darth Vader, I think he's 8 initiative, compared to a stock Rebel X-Wing pilot, which might be 2.
Yep.
Okay, so your X-Wing moves first, then Vader reacts, and then Vader shoots first.
Yep.
So having the high initiative is hugely important.
Oh, absolutely. Not only that, but also he gets to see, so Darth Vader in that instance, so the X-Wing pilot might say focus, so Darth Vader can turn around and say, can actually target his opponent, because he knows that he's going to focus, which is not as good as some of the other...
as a defensive maneuver.
Exactly right. So you get to see the maneuvers that your opponent's going to do, because you know you're going to shoot first.
Yeah, and I think this is a great way of using a model's initiative, which doesn't necessarily pop up so much in games. Is that it actually means something here. It means that you are not just attacking first, but you can see what your opponent's doing and then counteract it with your movement.
And the fact that the movement is all set straight off the board, so it's the first thing you do is your opponent doesn't see what you're selecting. You can't see what your opponent's selecting. You set your discs down. You're not allowed to touch them again until they're revealed. I think it's very clever.
Yep.
It's so clever. So once combat's resolved, you gain damage by selecting cards, and depending on what the dice reveal, if it's a closed star, the damage card is placed face down, which means you lose 1 hull point. If it's an open star, the card is flipped over, and you read the result. Sometimes that could be like losing your primary weapon. It could be dropping your initiative. It could be taking 2 damage cards instead of 1.
These cards can actually apply more damage than obviously than what the dice on it said.
Yep.
Yep.
Have drastic consequences on your ship.
Critical hits.
The critical hits, yeah.
Critical hits, that's it. And then once we resolve combat, then we clean up the board, get rid of all the counters.
So it's almost like a bit of a post
clean-up stage, and then we reset, pick again our maneuvers, and off we go again. It's very simple, very quick.
Simple. Now, how does the game play for? Is it turns, scenarios? How does it work?
That's probably one of the downsides, is that there's no missions per se. It's really...
And I think we need to bring to people's attention here is mission control on the Fantasy Flight website. So it's in open beta stage now, and it's basically player-generated missions. They give you an online editor where you can design your own missions, and basically they go into this big community database, and they get likes and stuff like. You see the top-rated missions and that sort of stuff. So
they're the ones you want to probably stick to.
Yeah. So while there aren't necessarily many official missions from Fantasy Flight, that they've provided this incredible tool to the community to design their own stuff. Have you checked it out with your lads?
No, I haven't. That's something we should do.
Oh man, you get on it, because there's some fantastic
There is
stuff
missions in the back of the rules and stuff, and the boosters provide missions, but to be honest, they're a bit semi-stroke, not engaging. Is probably the word.
The focus of the game at its very core is dogfight.
100%.
So it's ship-on-ship combat. There's not much else there.
So sticking to that, is it amount of turns that you go through to finish the game, or is it literally you go till someone's dead, or you've reached however long you've got to play?
Yeah, I'd imagine a tournament would be like a time setting, so it'd be like you play for an hour and a half, 2 hours.
You're saying, Jacob, you sit through these sorts of things and you want to design a tournament. Now, we just spoke before that they've just had the World Championships for the Star Wars games just recently.
Yep.
How do they do this in a tournament?
Well, FFG have their own tournament pack.
Okay.
So they released, this is our rules for the event, and it's basically, it gets updated, but it hasn't changed much since inception. It only changes every now and again depending on what boosters have come out, basically, if anything changes there. So they're standard, you play till wipeout, because that's what it is, it's combat, or you play till time's up, and then you add up victory points, how much you got left.
Okay, and in these games, I think you said before, was it 200 points, or was it?
100 points is,
100
yeah,
Standard, yeah.
It's a standard
game.
tournament
And
game.
how long do you usually allocate for something like that?
I think 45. Off the
45
top of my
minutes
head,
for a
I'm thinking
tournament
45.
game. So around 45 minutes.
Yeah, I would certainly say no longer than an hour.
Yeah.
That would be.
And now it sounds like a casual shed game.
Yeah, perhaps.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A few beers, bit of popcorn.
I just play till I was dead, basically.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Which,
Because
knowing
you're
your
not-
dice, probably wasn't very.
Wouldn't be very long, yeah.
Because at 100 odd points, you haven't really got a lot of ships on the board. And I was just looking before, there's not a lot of hull damage on these small TIE fighters and
no.
whatnot.
But I think that's where it gets really interesting, because if you're playing with just the ships out of the box with no upgrades, then you're not going to last long. The idea about this game and what its appeal is for a lot of gamers, and I know Mike, that we're talking about, his love of it comes from building these squadrons that are looking at the synergies between ships.
Yeah.
That's what you want to do. So you want to look at what ships are going to work well together with what upgrades. And upgrades can rack up the cost really quickly of your ships.
And also make them insane killing machines.
Yeah, absolutely.
So with some of these upgrades, are we what sort of upgrades, and are we talking personalities to go
Yeah,
with the ships
so
as well?
it comes in quite a few categories, but you find that it's weapons, which might be primary weapons, or missiles, or mines, or ion cannons, all sorts of stuff there. Then you've got your crew, which is your personalities. So, and if you ever took, the Millennium Falcon without Han Solo in the pilot chair,
Isn't that like auto loss?
it should be.
It should be.
Yeah, you can take it with Lando.
Yeah,
Something
as long as
like
he's wearing Han's clothes. Like that really weird bit in Empire. And then you've got other things like, other strategic sort of things. So your crew, or you might have engine upgrades or stealth cloaks.
Can you repair your ships? Is there a repair, anything like that?
Yeah, you astromech droids. R2D2 has a thing where he can repair every turn one hull point or one shield. I can't remember off the top of my head. Sorry, it's been a while since.
It sounds like there's quite a few different options, and obviously with the characters and it can completely change the ship.
Absolutely.
It's worth also mentioning that with the actual cards themselves, so whenever you buy a booster pack, or with the core set, for example, you get Luke Skywalker and you get Darth Vader, for example. So they actually give special abilities, so it's wrote on their stat card. So it'll give the ship details, and then it gives their details of what their special abilities are.
Yeah.
So you've got your usual Red Squadron Xwing, or you might have Luke Skywalker's Xwing.
Yep.
Plus
or rookie
Wedge
pilot.
Antilles, or whatever there is, kind of thing. So
she'll have 4 or 5 pilots per ship.
Yeah. So some of these upgrades have like a unique quality where you can only have one to kind of a squadron of Lukes or anything like that.
And then on top of that, then you can add ion cannon, you can add smart missiles, mines, so you can really build characterful, hardcore.
And this is where it goes from being a great game to introduce new people to being this is the competitive edge, and it really is light and dark with
chalk and
this.
cheese.
Absolutely, because I can't play at that competitive level. I've tried competing at that level, and it just blows my mind because I've played games where I'm like, okay, so here's my move done, your turn, and he goes, well, I'll do this, and then that means he can activate, and then he will shoot you, and you're dead. And I'm like, brilliant.
Game over.
Game over, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So,
when you go to a tournament.
but I mean, that's the thing.
Yeah.
And that comes with experience, because that was my first ever foray into that sort of stuff, and my last. But I've done that with a few systems, to be honest.
So, aside from tournaments, then campaigns. I believe you ran a campaign.
Oh, we
ran.
ran
How does
a
Fantasy Flight
ridiculous campaign. Now, this was before Fantasy Flight ever did it.
Yep.
This was back in the Q&K days,
Yep.
where there was a handful of dudes that were into it, and we ran this narrative campaign. And like every campaign, it's as good as the players in it, and these guys went to town. They each had their own Xwing pilot in this night squadron, and I gave them a little bit of a backstory, and they ran with it. Ridiculously ran with it. What I'll do is I'll dig up the thread on Wargamer.au, and share
post that up because I think we're gonna.
I remember
'Cause if
some of that.
nothing
I remember
else,
reading some of that.
it's-
some of Brad's
it's
posts were
ridiculous.
funny as.
Again, shout out to Brad. It just gets a
Yeah.
bit crazy. But it's Pete Martindale.
Yep.
Yeah.
Did he get into it?
Oh, he got into it big time. So yeah, he was the Y-wing in the squadron.
Heavy
And,
drinker.
Yeah, loved it. Loved a bit of spice, a bit of
Yep,
hollow porn.
I'm not surprised.
And
Yep.
yeah, no, it was great. So I'll find it. But yeah, we did that from scratch, and we designed missions from scratch. The best thing about that campaign was they failed every single mission. There was not one successful mission. So I had this whole story out planned, thinking, oh yeah, that'll be
So
fine.
they completely
Nah.
ruined the story.
Pantsed it the entire way. Everything they did, they failed, and it wasn't. And I was even making stuff easier. I was toning stuff down.
Were your dice just like red hot?
It wasn't me. I was jamming. I wasn't actually playing at
Right.
any stage. I think part of the problem was Chad played the bad guy. Shout out to Chad.
Did he have his Mrs. Dice?
No, it was Xwing
No,
dice,
yeah.
thankfully.
Okay,
But
yeah, that's true. Yeah, they're all D8s. Yep.
but again, this is a game that if you can
Math hammer it out.
apply
Get
some
mathematics.
mathematics to it,
Oh, taken out. He's taking it out of the spirit. Okay, so it sounds like campaigns are good. Fantasy Flight.
Fantasy Flight have
have
released
stepped up,
a
it sounds
campaign
Yep.
pack for
Yep.
it. I haven't played it though, so I can't comment on it. I just
Okay.
know they have released it. Have you played that with the
That's
lads?
my boys, no.
Okay.
I've got a category here I want to ask you about because I know you love this category.
Yep.
Innovation. What's innovation?
Innovation. I think, as far as innovation goes, I haven't played heaps of space combat games,
Okay, yeah.
but there is some stuff in this that I loved. One, the maneuver dial.
Very
I think
clever.
it was brilliant.
Yeah.
And I know that when I've watched games of Battlefleet and that sort of stuff, you have your movement that's kind of set, and it takes time to change things. But the fact with this one that you are literally, this is what I have to do every turn, and I have to decide what I'm doing before anything is decided. Brilliant. It works so well, and it adds to intensity to the dogfight. You really have to plan ahead.
I think this is the only game I can think of. I'm sure there's some others, but most Space Fleet games are because they're
Fleet games,
This is
yeah.
a dogfight, so
It's a squadron level, yeah.
you are whizzing and banging around a bit more than a big, 1,000-kilometer
Yeah.
space hop floating around.
I have to say, this is the first Fantasy Flight game I've played, and is it innovative? It's bloody close to it with
Yeah.
the maneuver dials. It's so close.
Look, there's a lot
to
of
the
stuff.
point of I'd say yes.
There's a lot of stuff with this that has really influenced how other games have come out. And you look at the collectible nature of the miniatures.
Yep.
Okay? You look at the way the cards work and the upgrade system works. That's been borrowed. And we mentioned that, we see similarities between Walking Dead, which
Walking
came out
Dead,
last
yeah.
year,
Yep.
using a very similar sort of system with upgrading the characters. Not saying they copied it, but I'm just saying it's clearly influenced what's going on here. You have your dice, like specific.
Results.
Are you talking about with the color-coded dice?
Yeah,
have
they're
to
not.
rely
It's
on
not a
D6
1 to 8 or
rolls.
something like that. It's an actual dice with symbols on it that
Yeah.
that's
Yeah, with a certain result.
looking there, and like the whole thing just sort of for 2012 when it came out.
Yeah, it's a while ago now. 5
It
years.
was hugely influential, I think.
Okay, all right. So
Is it innovative?
it's been given it. Well, Jacob's given it.
I want to say
thumbs up for
yes,
innovation.
and I'd
For
again
the time for 2012.
for 2012.
yeah.
I would say, look, I agree with Jacob. It is. It's
Because
definitely innovative, yeah.
Armada is similar. from
Mine
what I
are
can
similar,
see.
yeah, but I mean,
But
it's,
Armada came out
Exactly right. After this.
After this, so we're talking 2012. This thing gets the thumbs up from Jacob for innovation.
thanks.
Yeah?
Yeah,
Alright.
I think so. And again, if I'm missing stuff, because I haven't played heaps of space combat games,
Yeah.
if I'm missing stuff, feel free to let me know,
I
listeners.
wouldn't be
But
surprised if it was, because this is it's a dogfight. It's not the normal space
Fleet
combat
battle,
games
yeah.
that I'm used to. Like I've played, I've got the battle fleet. I've got Firestorm. I've got all those. This is a dogfight. This is completely different.
Yeah.
So okay, it's got the innovation. Is there anything else you want to go over to sell it to me? And to
I would
to
say
the listeners?
one thing we haven't touched on is the quality of the components. I think
briefly
we
have. I think we've said that the stuff looks.
Well, we said
freaking
that the car, yeah, but that's looking amazing compared to it. You can I could drop that and it's not gonna smash. And the painting is stellar. The way it's done, it's not just
Has
one.
Mike
It's just not.
repainted any of these?
Yeah, Mike
Yeah.
Harrell's done some
Yeah,
repaints,
it's great.
and he's posted up on our Facebook page some of the repaints he's done.
Yep.
Last time we called
So-
him out on it.
It's
Straight
but
out
it's
of the
not.
box.
It's
This
not.
stuff's good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's just not, paint white, give it a, wash. It's specific details. Like it's
Yeah, this stuff's better. It's obviously better than the Armada of the Star Wars, but obviously they're a lot simpler
Scale.
colours.
Yeah.
This stuff looks good. These are, I think I said to you before, these are like toys.
but also
Good quality toys.
the quality of the cardboard, the quality of the maneuver, the way you put the maneuver pieces together. So
That's-
you've got like a plastic
That's
stuff.
FFG though.
That's fantasy
They've
flight
got a
to a
reputation.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
But overall, for somebody who's never come across Fantasy Flight games before, never
Yep.
bought any of their products before, quality is,
Yep.
it's
So
stellar.
I had a shelf full of Fantasy Flight board games before I bought this, so I kind of was expecting that high quality, and it didn't disappoint.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
fantastic.
No, it's,
Can I say though, what I love about it is that they've delved so deep into the lore, and not just the movies or the cartoon like Clone Wars, but they've actually gone into the stuff that I love about Star Wars is that it's a huge
They've gone
universe,
right into the
and they've
source
gone
books.
right into it, and it's fantastic. And even more than that is that they've used ships from all the eras, so from A New Hope right through to the latest stuff was in Wave 10. That was the Xwing and the Upsilon.
that's one of my gripes though, because they haven't got like the Naboo Starfighter.
Yeah, we'll talk about that in a sec
Oh.
because I want to get into that as well.
Yeah, go on.
What I love is that they're getting these ships from the movies, the good movies. I'm going to say the good movies here, but more than that, they're actually bringing ships to life into the canon. So they've actually come up with a couple of ships that have actually made their way into the new films and into Star Wars Rebels and things like that were birthed in this game. That FFG have come up with saying we need a ship that kind of does this, we'll produce it, and then Lucasfilm and then later Disney have gone, we're going to borrow that and put it into our story, which is fantastic. Like that's a huge reciprocal
amazing.
relationship between essentially the games
For
company.
a huge IP of Star Wars as well.
Massive.
And very controlling.
I think it's the biggest IP in the world. I think
Yeah, it
$4
is.
billion they sold it to Disney for.
Yeah.
That's got to be, that's the biggest
It's also
in the
been
world.
around since 1976.
Yeah.
1979. I'm not too sure when New Hope came out. Was it 76 or 79?
Just think of 79.
79.
No, don't quote me on that.
But
Yeah,
anyway,
yeah.
late 70s.
Yeah.
So it's already been around nearly 40 years.
Yeah. So, I mean,
Longer.
it's incredible. The Naboo Starfighter, though.
Yep.
Why do you want the Naboo Starfighter?
Because it's like in that era, it was fabled as super fast, super sleek, super maneuverable. It'd be wicked to see what it would look like on the board. Granted, it would from a firepower point of view, and maybe if you get the era right, because the old Xwing compared to new Xwing, I imagine the maneuverability is slightly different.
Yeah.
So the Naboo compared to like a modern day Xwing probably doesn't hold up from a maneuverability point of view, but I would love to see how it would translate in the dogfighting in the battlefield, so to speak.
Is that one of your favourite ships or something?
Yeah, well, whenever the boys got it for a Lego fighter,
Yep.
obviously it got destroyed as Lego generally does.
Generally does.
But over Christmas, we got the plans out and rebuilt several. We built the Headhunter, we built an Imperial one, I forget the name of, and we built the Naboo Starfighter. And when I rebuilt the Lego version, I was just like, man, it's a cool ship. It is aesthetically really cool.
I think, and again, correct me if I'm wrong here, listeners, I don't think FFG do any stuff from the prequels.
No, they don't. Oh, no, Arc Fighter was Clone Wars.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I don't think they do, and that goes
No.
across all their lines.
Yeah.
So I think there might be an IP issue with that.
It must be.
Because
Oh, why,
I'm
though?
even running my brain through everything from the RPG. I can't remember the Naboo Starfighter
No.
in there. I know there's things like the Nubian ships, but there's not. And there's. So I'm just trying to think how much that IP they actually have access to on for the tabletop game.
Yep.
So I know there's little bits and pieces, but I think they might be from the RPG. But I think that's more from the Clone Wars.
Mm.
So I don't know. I think there might be a licensing issue there.
Yeah,
And
possibly.
again, I could be
Which
wrong.
is odd.
Could be
Given
wrong.
that
You just got to
Lucasfilm should own the rights to it.
Yeah, but do FFG want to go, right, so we'll pay you so much for these items, but we'll leave
But if that
off the
reciprocal
Clone
agreement
Wars.
is so, they're
Yeah.
basically got a hand in each other's pocket.
But, if they bring out the Naboo Starfighter, people go, it's from Phantom Menace, why would we want that?
Because it looks sick and it fights like a beast because it's got such a sharp turning circle and can do U-turns, not get stress. Yes, please.
I love the look on Muddi's face right now.
The rebels need that.
Yeah, well, they've got it with the A-Wing.
I'm thinking he's just...
A-Wing doesn't do
power
a U-turn, can't do a UE and not get stress.
There you go. Well,
he's power gamed it. There you go, folks.
No, because the bloody Imperials.
There's his list.
Okay, listeners, on the Imperial side, the Imperials do have a ship that can do. Okay, so if you do U-turn, generally you cop stress, which means you're not as effective in the combat phase. Whereas the bloody Imperials do have a specific TIE defender that can do a UE and not cop stress. And my son does it to me all the time, gives me the shits, and I've got always planned for him doing a UE on me.
Right. So this is what you do. You find the Micro Machines version of the Naboo Starfighter. You write your own card, and you just plonk it on the table and go, there you go, man. What do you want? Come at me, bro.
And that Micro Machine Naboo Starfighter will probably cost $300.
Yeah, well.
So can I just sum it up? Greg wants this fighter because his son's kicking his ass.
That's what it sounds like.
And
Gives me
he's
shits.
getting shits.
Yeah, get the shits.
You are listening to Power Stance Gamers. And now, this.
Can I jump in one more point? My last point with
one
this
more point.
is that I sold my Xwing stuff.
You sold it.
I sold it, and I think that's probably important.
That's a massive call. You don't sell stuff.
Especially Star Wars.
Yeah.
I didn't find I was attached to them.
Because you didn't paint them.
Maybe I didn't paint them. Maybe I don't know. But I found...
Did you not do this, like, at night? Did you not go, like... That's what your problem was. You didn't go pew, pew, pew.
I wasn't pew-pewing.
Fly your ships around at night by yourself?
And for me...
Did you find there wasn't enough quite in the game to keep you invested?
Yeah, I think, one, I couldn't get my head around the power building.
The squad building.
The ultimate list building.
The synergies. I'm not a synergy guy. I'm a, hey, that looks cool guy.
It's interesting that the list building guy, all about the tactics, is so in this game.
Yeah.
But I don't play it to list
build. You
build.
didn't want to.
Yeah. Well, see, because I actually had an opportunity where someone said, hey, I'm looking to buy Xwing stuff. And I went, yeah, I'll sell you mine.
Okay.
Like, it wasn't like I was looking to sell.
You didn't whack it off on it.
And I still got my Armada stuff, and I love Armada. I just didn't have the attachment to it. Like, see, I'd never sell a board game, but this one I parted with, and I've not regretted it. So I don't know whether that says something or not.
I don't know. That's an odd thing because you're massively into Star Wars. If anything, I would have thought you would hold on to anything from Star Wars that you owned.
Especially X-Wings. I used to tell people I was going to be an X-Wing pilot when I grew up.
See, there you go. And you sold it.
Well, hence why I was very reluctant to originally get it. And to be honest, outside playing with the boys, I haven't played anybody else other than the boys. And I've no interest to be honest. I've no interest to play competitively.
So what's happening here?
I don't know. I think...
To me, it's okay. For me personally, it's like
well,
hang on. Let me speak. Let me finish. To me, that's
Greg,
my childhood. That's my childhood getaway. That was my Star Wars is my thing.
Yeah.
To all of a sudden take that and play competitively against somebody who's come up with the ultimate list build and smashes me, I'm like, whatever. Like, it's just like, to me, it's Star Wars. You can't.
Yeah.
It's more than that. It's bigger than just this game. This might sound really silly. Maybe I'm not getting my point across, but you can't just take some ships and just go, oh, here you go. It's a whole brand, it's massive IP. It's something that you go to the movies and you just go, holy crap, and you watch it 3 or 4 times. And you just go, that's insane. Lightsabers and all that sort of stuff. It's just not this. It's just not this. A couple of bits of plastic. Like, I guess I'm sort of more emotionally involved in it than you're just shaking my head.
Look, he's shaking his head ironically, but I agree.
You can't mess with it. I guess that's the point. You cannot mess with it, and you can't get. Sorry, I guess that.
Are you still going?
No, where I want to get to is a power gamer just can't come along or somebody list build and just go boom. That's it. I just take your toys off. To me, that's like you're missing the point of Star Wars, which is the point.
But I think that comes back to the how and when you're playing it. You know, and we are never going to tell anyone how they should play their hobby. We'll tell you how we
definitely
love
not.
to play our hobby.
Yep.
But
Each their own.
for Xwing does have an avenue for the synergists, for the lift builders, for the power gamers to smash out something ridiculous. And that's a huge appeal for a lot of people. Doesn't appeal to me at all. It's not why I sold it, don't get me wrong. It's not like I had one bad tournament, fucking toys out the window, you know. Rage quit. That was Flames of War, but that's another that's for another day.
Okay. This game's bringing out all the bloody emotion in there.
But for me, I think it didn't grab me. It's something about it, and I suppose ratings soon.
That's
come
what
up,
I'm trying to get to, because I'm finding it interesting, and let me have a turn here. You're you're really versed in this game, but you won't play it. You're essentially not really wanting to play it anywhere else. Jacob is a mad keen Star Wars player that loves it too, but he sold off his stuff. I want to know what you're going to rate this game now, because you guys seem to really like the game, but yet at the same time you're not really liking the game. So I don't know how you're going to review this. Rate it.
One other point I probably want to mention before we jump on the ratings, though, and it's funny you sort of come across as sort of like a negative thing, but for me, the only negative for this, and maybe I'll go into the ratings, but the only negative for me is the fact that it's limited factions. So you've only got really 3 factions. You've only got Rebels, Imperials, and Scum and Villainy. And it's a real shame that out of all the universe...
I have the same thing with Armada. I'm waiting for them to bring out the Trade Federation or something.
Yeah, so I think it just comes down to licensing.
Yeah.
They won't invest in it because I don't think it'll have the sales that they'd expect from it.
But I don't say... I'm pretty sure they've got the Mandalorian fighter in a few waves ago. So they've got that Mandalorian fighter. Why can't we delve a bit more into Mandalorian and come up with some other fighters so we can have a Mandalorian squadron? That's the only... If it's got a negative, that's the only negative.
It has a limited scope.
Only if you want to perceive it as limited.
Well, how many ships? There must be 40 ships, 45 ships, off the top of my head.
Yeah, it would be. Yeah, it would be. But then again, it's split into 3 factions. So,
okay.
You know. So look, on to ratings. Look,
all right. How many dice we giving it?
Dead set, love it. I'm gonna give it 5 because I've got it, and I love it, and I play with my kids, and it's awesome, and I can see the appeal. For other people.
We need to do 2 reviews here because you are a massive Star Wars.
Yes, 100%.
How do you think someone who's not as into Star Wars as yourself, who dreams of flying X-Wings...
That was Jacob.
Sorry. How do you think they would review this game?
I think the fact that you can get everything out of the box, punch all your card, and get it ready within, say, 30 minutes, and read the rules within 15. I think the fact that you can be playing this game in less than an hour from getting it out of the shrink wrap is a dead set winner. I think it's a no-brainer. It's amazing.
So still 5
100%.
dice, even for those who aren't as versed in Star Wars. Okay, Jacob.
All right, going by our metric of 5 dice is rush out and buy it now. 3 dice is, it's pretty good.
Yep.
I'm going to go 3 dice.
Yep.
Okay? And I'm going to go 3 dice because the big thing for me is, it's great. The miniatures are great. It captures the feel. They've bought into the universe. That's brilliant, but it didn't have enough to keep me. It doesn't take much to keep me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I thought it would, being that you are such a big, you've got all the books, all of this.
Yeah. And look, it could be a number of factors. It could be that I've got Armada and I enjoy Armada. And I like the big ships.
Yeah, baby.
And the dogfighting's great, but I felt that the scopes may be too small. Yeah. I don't know. There's just something that didn't grab me. I think, and again, because, we're not intro gamers. So we are versed, experienced gamers. I don't need an intro box. That's going to leave me pretty much wanting more. So as far as introducing someone to the game, I'd go, here's a really good start, but it's not, because it requires too much depth, but it was maybe the depth that put me off. I don't know. Yeah. I'm feeling like it was a good game. Maybe 3 is harsh. Maybe I'm thinking 3.5. because I want to be
3.5 still harsh.
nice to it.
Wow, I'm really
But-
surprised. I thought coming in tonight, I've only
Look,
ever
don't get
played
me wrong.
one
I've
game.
got lots and lots and lots of positive things to say about this game. But for me, as a gamer, and keeping my attention, and me wanting to say, go out and buy it, I'm like, look, if you see it cheap, pick it up, because it's a good pickup to have on your shelf. But unless you're the kind of gamer that's into the stuff that's required to play it as they're designed to play it, I think, and that's with your upgrades and looking for your synergies and
building lists.
building, your squadrons. Yeah, I don't know. Just doesn't do it for me.
Do you build lists with your kids, or do you just play straight out of the box?
The kids build lists now.
Yeah.
The eldest one especially. The youngest one kind of just takes what looks cool.
Yeah.
Whereas the eldest one definitely is into list building now.
Okay.
Yeah, he's into upgrading his ships to make them even more harder than what they are. And
He's
I
rolling
just
his eyes because he keeps beating him.
Yeah.
He does. And I just take bog standard ships. I take Scum and Villainy and just take cheapest chips.
Okay.
Chips,
All right. So we're looking at 3 and a 5.
Where do you sit, Muddi, based on your
Well,
limited experience?
Okay.
It's probably worth saying that you haven't played it.
I've
and
played it once.
I've just shown
when
you.
it first came out.
At
way
my
back-
jobs.
Yeah, way back in the day. I've watched it today. I love the pieces. I love looking at it. My want, I'll rate this on my want to play it. I'd give it 4. I prefer Armada, if I'm honest, because I like the big battles. But I could see this definitely something like with you, Greg, with the kids. I could throw down and do a bit of that. I'm a little worried that Jacob's a little put off by it, because I came into this review thinking I was going to get 2 5s straight up.
Yeah, don't think I'm put off by it. It's just it doesn't.
No. It seems
It didn't keep me.
It seems that the list can get a little bit crazy, list building, and I definitely, even with Armada, it's limited in its scope in that you haven't got a lot of factions to play with. And I'm coming from most games where there's like lots of factions, lots of different armies. There's always something to be looking at. And when you I know you've got the criminal guys, but essentially when you've got realistically 2 factions and some criminals, that's too limited from what I'm used to in my gaming. So I'd give it 4 because the models do look really cool. And it is Fantasy Flight, so the stuff is quality. And the idea of being able to just throw this stuff down with kids is appealing.
Interesting. I never thought we'd get a 3, 4, 5.
Same here. I'm surprised, actually.
Yeah, but it's good, and I think it shows that the different ways of looking at it might influence your judgment on them. Any final thoughts before we wrap it on up?
No, I think we've been pretty thorough.
Yeah, good. Yeah, I agree. I think there's not much we haven't covered in the last hour or so. So, before we do wrap up, Muddi, tell the listeners once again, how do they win your copy of Archaon End of Times?
That you're so kindly donating.
Do you want Archaon? Do you want it now? Then you better give me 5-star ratings on iTunes, or you're gonna get it!
And by the way, you can just rate us 5 and then just slag us off, because we're crap.
Yeah.
But just give us, please, the 5 stars.
Alright, thanks very much. So check us out on Podbean, on Facebook. Make sure you're liking and following our page and get involved in discussions there. Twitter, Muddi, you on that yet?
Oh yeah, bro.
Excellent, good stuff. And iTunes, subscribe, give us that rating, go in the draw to win Archaon End of Times.
Or I'm gonna break you, brother!
Thanks, Hulk. Alright, see you later.
Thank you for listening to Power Stance Gamers, the #1 place for tabletop banter. You know you love us. See you soon.
It's Eternal and Mix, well on the track once again, killing it, T-Dot to Munch, we all connection, funk resurrection, ha, yeah.